The world has moments that strike like lightning, unexpected, blinding, and impossible to forget. My moment began on a quiet evening in Florida, when the sun was sinking low and the ocean glowed like molten gold. I stood barefoot on the pier, staring at the woman who had changed the direction of my life without even knowing it. Her name was Evelyn Carter, my boss, and the person whose approval I had spent months silently chasing. I wasn't chasing love or desire, not yet, not consciously, but I was chasing something inside myself that had been missing for years. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beauty of unexpected human connections, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps more than you know. I had started working at Carter Athletics 6 months earlier, fresh from heartbreak, failure, and a string of choices that dragged me down more than they lifted me up. My father had passed away the same week my long-term relationship ended. I felt as if life was purposely stripping everything away until I had nothing left to hide behind. I moved to Florida with 2 suitcases and a hope I wasn't sure I believed in. Evelyn was the type of person who seemed carved from purpose itself. Strong, focused, determined. She was a former national swimmer who'd turned her discipline into a sports empire. She didn't tolerate excuses, but she had a surprising softness in her eyes, a softness that felt like sunlight through storm clouds. She demanded excellence from everyone, especially me, not out of cruelty, but because she saw something in me I couldn't yet see in myself. The day everything changed was the day she challenged me to a swim race. Not a playful splash in the water, but a serious, competitive, prove you're more than you think you are type of challenge. She had found me sitting alone on the beach after work, staring out at the waves as if the ocean might help me breathe again. She asked why I always looked like I was fighting ghosts. She asked why I always backed down from challenges. She asked why I didn't believe in myself even when she did. And then she pointed out toward the open sea and said, "Beat me in a swim, and I'll reward you with one night." But she didn't mean a romantic night. She meant something else entirely, something bigger, bolder, deeper. Evelyn believed that one night of clarity, one night of confronting your own limits, could change your entire life. She wanted me to win a night where she'd sit down with me, one-on-one, and map out how to rebuild my world from the ground up. She wanted to give me direction, mentorship, a plan worth fighting for. That was her reward. I looked at the ocean, then at her, and said, I want more. Not more of her, more of myself, more of a chance to prove that the world hadn't broken me permanently. She smiled, as if she had been waiting for those words. The next day, just before sunrise, we stood on the shore. The air was cold, the sky was still dark, and I was terrified. I hadn't swum competitively since high school. I wasn't trained for this, I wasn't ready. But Evelyn said something that stuck to my heart like glue: you don't need to be ready, you need to start. When we ran into the water, it hit me like electricity. The cold shocked my body awake, and for a moment, I forgot everything except the burn in my muscles and the rhythm of my breathing. Evelyn cut through the waves with precision, every movement sharp and intentional. I struggled to keep up, but every kick pushed me harder. Not because she was ahead, not because she was my boss, but because I felt my father's voice echoing inside me, telling me to stop running away from life. Halfway through, I started to falter. The weight of exhaustion, grief, and self-doubt pressed against my chest. I slowed, gasping, feeling the familiar edge of quitting approaching like a dark cloud. That's when Evelyn stopped swimming and turned back toward me. She didn't touch me. She didn't pull me. She simply stayed there, floating beside me in the open sea, her eyes steady and unwavering. "If you stop now, you're not just losing this race," she said softly. "You're losing yourself again." Something inside me cracked open. I pushed forward, stroke after stroke, pain after pain, memory after memory, of everything I thought I couldn't overcome. When we reached the buoy, I touched it first, barely, maybe by a second, maybe less. But I had won. Evelyn didn't cheer, she didn't clap, she didn't smile widely. Instead, she nodded once, firmly, like a general acknowledging a soldier's breakthrough. We swam back to shore together in silence. That night, the one night she promised, was not glamorous. It wasn't candlelit or romantic. It was real, raw, transformational. She invited me to her office after hours, where the only light came from a single desk lamp and the moon spilling through the windows. She asked me to sit. She asked me to talk. And for the first time in years, I did. I told her about my dad, about my heartbreak, about how I felt like life had left me standing in the shadows while everyone else walked into the light. I told her how I felt like I wasn't enough for anyone, not even myself. Evelyn listened without judgment. She didn't rush me. She didn't try to fix me. She simply allowed me to exist without apologizing for the cracks inside me. When I finished, she slid a journal across the table. "This is yours now," she said. "Tonight isn't the reward. This is the start. You asked for more. I'm giving you the chance to earn a life you're proud of." Her words weren't decorated with softness, but they were soaked in truth. She gave me homework that felt like therapy disguised as discipline. She created a training schedule not just for swimming, but for rebuilding my mental strength. She taught me how to set goals I had always avoided. She pushed me toward a future I never believed I deserved. And slowly, everything changed. Over the next months, I became a different version of myself. Stronger, calmer, braver. I still struggled, but instead of drowning in those struggles, I learned to swim through them. I learned how to wake up early, how to train with purpose, how to silence the voice that kept telling me I wasn't enough. Evelyn became more than a boss. She became a mentor, a guide, a lighthouse that didn't pull me toward her, but pushed me toward myself. People at work began to notice. My friends noticed. My own reflection noticed. But something else changed too, something neither Evelyn nor I expected. As I grew stronger, our relationship changed. Not romantically, not in the way the world might assume, but spiritually. We connected in a way people rarely do, with honesty, vulnerability, and genuine respect. One day, months later, she told me she was proud of me. It wasn't said casually. It wasn't said out of obligation. It came from a place of truth, and for the first time in my adult life I believed those words. But nothing in the world is permanent, not even the things we wish could last forever. Evelyn received an offer to lead a national training program in Colorado, a dream she had chased long before she ever met me. It meant she would be leaving Florida. It meant our journey together was reaching its final chapter. On her last night in the office, she asked me why I looked sad. I told her the truth, that she had changed my life, that without her I wouldn't even know who I was anymore, that her absence felt like losing a guiding star. She shook her head gently. "You don't need me anymore," she whispered. "The person you became, you did that. I was only the mirror." Before she left, she placed her old training whistle in my hand. "Whenever you don't believe in yourself," she said, "remember you beat me once, not because you were stronger, but because you refused to give up." And then she walked out of the building, leaving the door slightly cracked behind her as if to say I was always welcome in the world. She helped me rediscover. Years have passed since then. I now run my own sports program for teens who feel lost, just like I once did. I teach them how to swim, yes, but more importantly, I teach them how to believe, how to rebuild, how to start again. Every time I see one of them push through fear or break through their limits, I hear Evelyn's voice inside me, and I whisper the same words she once told me. "You don't need to be ready, you just need to start." Her whistle hangs in my office, not as a memory of her, but as a reminder of who I became because she believed in me before I believed in myself. And every sunrise over the Florida coast reminds me of that early morning race. The race that wasn't about beating her, but about saving myself. If this story touched your heart in any way, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement keeps stories like this alive. Before we end, special request, comment below. I will never give up on myself. Thank you for listening. And remember, great lives begin the moment you decide to swim forward, even when the ocean is cold.